What's up YouTube, this is DWS Darius and this is going to be another episode of Amazing Fish, and today I'm bringing one of the most famous fish in the hobby, the guppy. Now recently, if you've been watching my videos, you can notice that I'm starting to show a lot of attention to some of these fish that are just pretty much, I guess, basic fish, beginner fish. A lot of the fish that we first are introduced to when we first start in the hobby. And just because I realized that I had the mindset where I thought that for me the best way to go was to just go for all strange and rare fish. However, now I'm starting to look at the fish that I first were introduced to in the hobby, and now I'm going back to those guys because they really are beautiful fish. Now they are beginner fish and all of that, but they definitely are extremely beautiful fish, and I just want to start showcasing them. A lot of times we overlook these fish because they're so common, but you can really enjoy these fish in your aquarium and they're just awesome. So today I want to talk to you guys about the guppy. Now there are a lot of different videos about guppies because once again these are some of the most famous fish out there. So I don't want to bring some of that same information, try to bring a little bit different stuff. So one of the things I looked up that I found interesting about these fish was just the origin. Now these fish originate from South America. But the thing is, as of today, you can find these fish in the wild all over the world. You can find these fish in streams in California. You can find these fish in Florida. You can find these fish in Africa, Australia, Asia. And just if you look at the map of just where these guppies are located as of today, they're just all over the world. And I find that that's amazing, seeing that they all originated from South America. Another thing that's awesome about these guppies is that in the wild, these guppies naturally don't show so much color. If that was the case, most of them will be eaten by predatory fish, especially since they're so small. In the wild, most of them would look a little bit, where is she? I have a female in here. A little bit like her up there. They show a little bit more color than her, but they won't be as colorful as you see them in an aquarium. However, through selective breeding, man was able just to produce such awesome outcomes. Where are these? Such awesome outcomes in pretty much any color you can imagine, any pattern you can think of, you can pretty much find it with guppies. And that's another awesome thing I love about these fish. Okay YouTube, so if you've noticed in this video, I'm having quite a hard time trying to keep up with these guppies, and that's another reason why I love these fish, because they're just so active. They have such amazing colors and they do such a great job displaying those colors all over the aquarium. And it's just like tiny little beads of light all around, beads of colorful light, that is. And that's why I love these fish. Now before I started keeping these guppies, I pretty much thought that they were dumb fish compared to my cichlids. I thought that the cichlids had all the personality, and then fish like guppies, platies, and all of those other things, they really were like dumb. But now that I'm actually starting to keep these fish, I realize that they have tons of personality and just really are entertaining fish. Okay YouTube, and the last thing that I want to talk to you guys about the guppy is the reason why they're so common, and that's their hardiness. Now it's quite amazing to see such a beautiful fish that looks pretty much so fragile be so hardy. Now these fish can survive in so many different environments. They can survive in some of the roughest tanks. A lot of times these fish are recommended to beginners, and they actually last with beginners. Now I'm not saying this to bash beginners, but rather I know as a beginner myself, I really didn't know what I was doing. I didn't pay attention to my parameters. I didn't even care about the whole nitrogen cycle. I just threw fish in right away. And these guppies were definitely fish that survived with me, and it survived with a lot of us beginners while we were in our learning stage. And that's just what makes these fish awesome. They're good for the beginner. They help us learn a lot of hard lessons, and they're just awesome. So YouTube, that has been a look at the guppy. Now, if you have any questions or comments concerning the guppy, let me know in the comment section below. I didn't really cover too much about the overall care for these fish because these fish are just hardy. They pretty much accept any type of food. I feed mine a mix of bloodworms. I feed them algae from the pond. I get a rock after it sits in the pond and it's just covered in algae. I bring it in here and they love it. What else? I feed them flakes. And right here is Hikari's Masterful Delight. I was feeding it to my geophagus, and you know, every now and then they come down and they get some when they're not chasing each other. When it comes to breeding, we all know that guppies breed like rabbits. If you provide decent hiding places for the babies, the guppies will just multiply and multiply and multiply. And lastly, when it comes to just overall care, as I said before, pretty much easy. These fish are your teacher fish. These fish show you the ups and downs of the hobby. They show you the ropes around the hobby, and that's why I love them. So YouTube, that has been a look at the Guppy. Thank you all for watching, and that will be all.